on to the hard refresh. It is just Karina and I today as your hosts. We decided that we had to come in and keep things real every once in a while in our episodes. So it's just us going to banter back and forth. No.
What do you mean just us? I feel like we're just as good as everybody else, Caden. Just us.
No, guests are amazing. You're going to get a little bit more insight into how our two truths and a lie will go today. We'll get to that in a second. But today's topic's going to be a fun one, so make sure you stick around. We are going to dive specifically into a lie. You know, we're kind of in this two truths and a lie mindset. So we're going to talk about a lie today that is digital transformation a lie. That's what we're going to talk about. So, but Karina, we're gonna go with you first on this two truths and a lie.
And I literally just told you to be prepared, and I'm not prepared at all. Dang it. Okay. Two truths and a lie. I went to school but you already know this about me. Dang it. I'm trying to think of what you don't know about me. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. So I have a twin sister. I went to Europe for a year in college, backpack through Europe, and I have 3 kids.
Hey. I don't know if we've had this conversation before. I have it so many times. So I'm a twin, and I remember you reacting to that, being like, no way, and now I don't remember if you said you had a twin, and I totally forgot. Now I'm second guessing myself because I remember the conversation some time ago. Dang it. I think it's 1 or 2. I'm going to go with 1. I don't think you're a twin.
I'm not. Dang it.
Okay.
I was so close. I'm going to do it. No, I do not have a twin sister. I always wanted a sister. I don't know if I wanted a twin sister, but I did always want a sister. I have 2 older brothers, and I did go and I backpacked through Europe when I was in college, and I have 3 kids, Ryan, Ryder, and Kay.
That's awesome. Yeah. When I was thinking about when I told you I had a twin sister, I remember you being like, no, and then you said something. And I don't remember if it was just what are the odds if I'm a twin as well? And I was like, did that happen? I've had that happen before when I tell people, and they're like, no way, I'm a twin. Well, now I can't use that one.
No,
well, you knew that
well,
one.
I already know that you are a twin, so you can't use it. I feel like you're going to be really good at this because a lot of things that you tell me, I'm like, no way. Okay, go. Tell me.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I was born 10 minutes apart from my twin, and it was a C-section.
Okay.
The second one is early on in my career, one of the tasks I was given by a boss of mine was to mount a generator on top of his car for a road trip so that they would have power inside the car.
Okay.
And then the third one is I did theater in college.
Okay. Wow. I mean, those are, okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. Number 2, did you have workers' compensation? Is there anything that happened to you when you did that?
Workers' comp? Oh, if I was injured?
What if you electrocuted? Did you was everything okay with that situation?
I mean, the company had workers' comp.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Nothing happened.
So, yeah. Okay. All right. And can I ask questions? Yeah, right. Where did you put the generator exactly? On top of the car?
I think this is cheating.
It is totally cheating. I mean,
yeah, let's say it was on top of the car.
Okay,
all right.
Okay. I'm going to say that lie is number 1. It wasn't 10 minutes. Your mom did not have a C-section.
She did have a C-section, but
was it 10 minutes?
No, that would be super fast. We were born within 60 seconds of each other.
Okay, so that was the lie.
That was the lie.
Yes, I knew it. I knew you were
immediate, one after the other.
So are you older or are you younger by 60 seconds?
I'm older.
Okay. So what is your twin sister's name?
Emma.
So I feel like she has to come on the podcast. I need to meet Emma. I need to know Emma. Emma, if you're out there, please come on this podcast. Send her this episode, please.
She's a busy stay-at-home mom with 3 kids under the age of 4.
Okay, yeah, maybe Emma can't come to the podcast. Maybe I always joke with Caden and tell him I'm the Peruvian sister he never wanted because I have started to send him all of my videos of like decorating my office and just random text messages at 7 a.m., which is like what, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning for you. You're probably like, Karina, stop
I
now. I
did
can't
get
help it.
3 text messages that went off this morning at was it this morning? It was like 4:30, 5 a.m. my time. My wife's like, "Who's texting you?" And I was like, "I thought my phone was on
That's
silent."
Karina. I'm sorry. I really need to be better about that. But when things come into my head, I just rattle off. And also, like I know that I text you a lot, and then I'll respond in my head, and then I won't actually respond, and then I'll go back and be like, "God, what a jerk I am." He responds right away, and then I don't respond back. So I'll get better about it. My
I told
apologies.
Karina this a few days ago. I was just like, "You've made it into my top 9 favorites of text messages." Where's my text message with Karina?
That's the amount of text messages you get from me, guys. That says
Yeah.
something. Always bugging him. All
Well,
right,
I
let's go.
wanted to do something with my sister count because I have 7
Okay.
sisters, but I was like, "No, she'll remember that."
Yeah. Well, no, I knew the sisters, and I always want you to talk about the sister, like how you have 7 sisters. I think that's why we get along so well because you
All
get
I've done
me.
my entire life
You
is just
get
work
me.
with them.
Yeah. I'm putting on makeup. I'm showing you aesthetics, palettes, decor. You're like, I get it. I
I
get it,
get it.
Karina.
And it's unfortunate that, I mean, not unfortunate, but they're all older than me besides my twin, technically. So
So
I'm the
you guys are the
youngest.
babies?
We were, yeah.
Oh
My
my
oldest
gosh.
sister is 16 years older than me.
Your mother is a saint and your father, both of them. What's Christmas like and the holidays? Are you guys always like, do you try to get together? Is it difficult with 7?
Yeah, it's pretty rare that everyone's able to like fly in and get together, but usually we're the gathering place because
Your
we
house?
house my parents.
Okay. Nice.
And so we're, yeah, we're pretty busy around the holidays.
I can only
But like
imagine.
this holiday season for Christmas, we're going out to my wife's family in North Carolina. So we're gonna go spend like 3 weeks out there. So
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So, okay, so how many grandkids?
19,
Wow.
I think.
19 grandkids?
Yeah.
Holy
My wife and I
smokes.
are like behind. We're the ones with only one child.
You better get on it.
I
And
know,
your
right?
daughter is
She's
4?
4.
Okay, yeah. It's time, Caden. It's time.
4 and playing hockey.
You need to show me a video of your child playing hockey.
I'll
That's
send
going to
you
be the
one.
coolest. She's going to be so cool. I love it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's dive into some quick control. Karina has some
Yes.
cool updates for us and reminders.
Yeah, so do check out the Great API Debate. It's posted in live. It's so Great API Debate, Open Ecosystems versus Walled Gardens with Gerald from Brightgo. And stay tuned for the next episode. It's going to be with the Brain Corp team, David and Gavin, and it is called We Want Full Autonomy Until We Don't. So stay tuned.
It's gonna be fun. I'm
Yeah,
excited for that conversation.
same.
Yeah, and if you have interest, I just want to put this out there, just because the committee in and of itself is still relatively new, and so if you have interest in giving back to the industry and serving, reach out and let us know. If you're technology enthusiasts and want to be involved in helping and having conversations and leading there, let us know. We could always use more help. So
And I'll interview you. Caden gives me a hard time because I made him interview. And I did not make you interview for the committee. I just wanted to get to know you. Okay, this is really funny story before we move on. So Sam from Caden's team wanted to be a part of the committee. So he texted me and he said, Caden texted me saying that Sam wanted to be a part of it. And I said, of course, like we'd love to have anyone, right? Like we want volunteers. This is a collaborative committee, whatever. And so Caden's like, okay, well, are you going to meet with him? And I'm like, no, I don't have to meet with him. He's like, you interviewed me. You have to meet with him. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is hysterical. Okay, so now I have to interview all these people. Like, how dare you, Karina?
can't just let anyone walk through these doors.
We got to be selective. No, we won't, guys. Anyone that wants to help can help. And we are grateful to have you. By the way, what happened to Sam? Is he not going to do it?
I mean, it was spring break, and you just
Oh, he's not serious enough. Okay, well, Sam's out.
Sam's out then. Sorry, bud.
Sam, if you're listening, permission denied.
Yeah.
Access
Okay.
denied. Okay, we have 15 minutes. No
Well,
big deal.
yeah. Let's dive into our discussion today. So, clearing the cache. Our discussion today. Another lie. Is digital transformation a lie? Karina, why this topic today?
Okay, so I'm feeling this pain point, right? I've been working with a lot of companies, and digital transformation is incredibly painful, but necessary, right? But I think from a digital transformation, there's two sides of this. There's a technology and system transformation. There's
Mm-hmm.
also a very big piece, which is the cultural transformation. And so, what I'm finding is if culturally you're not changing and embracing this new mindset, and understanding what it means to go through a digital transformation, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I So this was several years ago. I was at a conference, and there was a booth there that I was just interested in learning more about. And the gentleman was talking about like, yeah, we are software. And I was like, I was a little confused because just like, we've taken this entire like 3-inch binder of like paper processes, and this had to do with like facility auditing. He's like, and it's now all in Excel. And I was just like, my
Mm.
mind did not say that that was software, but is it digitally transformed? Okay. Like, yes,
Did you
in
digitize
technic.
it or did
Yeah.
you digitally transformation?
So it's like, okay, now it's electronic, but is it truly a transformation of process? Because, like, still part of their process was like, well, then we have this Excel, and then, like, all of these photos are in a shared file in OneDrive. And I was like, ah. So, yeah,
No.
it's interesting because this concept that we often try and help people understand is like moving from paper to digital, right?
Right.
But digital is more than just moving it from a physical paper to a digital PDF, right?
Yeah.
An Adobe,
Right.
sign PDF. Like, the idea of that's not what digital transformation means, is making it electronic version of something, right?
Right.
So this this reactive state to tech adoption is like the other half of what you were talking about, is people don't make switches, and then usually when they do make switches, it's in a reactive state, which they then try and do the smallest amount of work possible
Right.
just to like become compliant with a client's request. That's what we see actually drive digital transformation, our 22 years of history, is that it's more common, not that the other doesn't happen, but it's more common than not to
Right.
have clients driving people's need to change, not because it's their desire, it's just they're trying to meet a client demand.
Right. When I think you can unpack that too, right? When it comes to digital transformation, one is the misconception about digitizing things and how that's truly not part. I guess it could be a part of digital transformation,
Yeah,
but it doesn't encompass all of it, right? And
correct.
then from the assumption of the why, like why are you doing this? Are you trying to improve operations? Are you trying to meet a client demand or expectation? Or are you trying to problem are you solving for? I think that's one of the things we've said over and over on the
Mm-hmm.
podcast. But digital transformation, from my perspective, is it's not just a buzzword. I think it catapults organizations into a different category because it is such an incredibly daunting, and I don't say that lightly, daunting and cumbersome task. But if you can get there, it's a game changer, like not just from a productivity perspective, a wellness and balance perspective. And we're talking balance and wellness from a person and a technology systems and software. And that's what I'm finding. Like there's a lot of opportunities to improve, but man, is it painful. It's really hard. And I didn't understand because I'm very tech forward and I'm with you all the time and other tech leaders that are that way. I didn't understand or anticipate how resistant team members were going to be, and even putting up the barriers, creating committees, having these ambassadors, champions if you will, still is it's still having a adverse effects. So I'm very curious to see how other organizations embrace digital transformations from various sizes.
Yeah, it often I've seen the best organizations in this industry, they look at it differently. They have learned that the digital landscape of their business has to be literally part of how they function, how they operate,
Yeah.
and how do they automate. I often teach this principle is you go from chaos to order, right? That's going from like any whether it's pen and paper or just an organized system, chaos to order. But then you have to go from order to automation. That next
Yeah.
level is beyond just the idea of putting pieces together that is now a digitized workflow that is more productive. It's beyond productivity. It's no, I actually don't even need to do it anymore. It's automated. The notification automatically goes out. People automatically get notified. I never even know that they were notified, right? Of
Right.
whatever it is. And that's like an oversimplification of automation is people getting notified. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's way cooler automations out there. But we live in a day and age where people, especially in the software space, people are talking about the concept of an AI agent replacing jobs. Now, that might be saved for like next episode on
Yeah.
like cleaners actually being replaced, but a lot of back office things that add so much overhead to a business if you aren't
Yeah.
careful, right? And administration, the more bloated administration becomes, the more eats into profitability,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is always in this industry lacking, right?
Right.
There's not
Right.
a lot of room there. And so that's what digital transformation can do. Is you move from chaos to order. That's great. That's step number one. But then we got to go from order to automation. And that's through, previous, if you're a new listener on the podcast, go back to previous episodes. We've talked about this, whether it's through integrations of other platforms, or maybe you've found the gold all in one tool that works for you. Whatever it is, that automation has to be in place. And AI is just pushing that boundary and the necessity of it even further. Because if
Right.
you just have a manual process that now is just all digitized, cool. There's a productivity increase there.
Right.
There's a library, there's organization, right? Chaos to order. You're not following a paper trail and
Right.
filing cabinets. It's centralized. But that next stage, and that's how I think of leading my company is how do we get more? We've done great things moving from chaos to order.
Right.
What are we going to do next to move from order to automation? And that's what people need to think about.
Well, and I love that because I wrote it down, chaos to order, order to automation. And I think one of the things that we find a lot is companies are coming to us and asking, like, how are you using AI? Like, what tools should I use? To your point about the AI agents, right? And like, how do I implement and and it's like, but wait a minute, you can't use all these tools if you don't have a strategy for digital transformation. If you
Yep.
just try to hodgepodge it, you're going to be doing your organization a disservice because you're not fundamentally and foundationally, I would say, set up to really optimize that higher level of tech. And so people don't want to hear that, right? They want to be like, well, can I just use ChatGPT? Yeah, you can. But if you're trying to create real impact and use technology like artificial intelligence, you got to go back 5 steps, even more. Like you got to go probably 7 steps and get your house
Yeah.
organized. And then you can start using things like that. That's the goal, right? You would get to that end point of AI, but you first got to clean up. You got to do a lot of
Yeah.
cleanup and you got to do a lot of transformation.
There's a lot of people using technology or let's go with the ChatGPT route. I don't remember the exact numbers. It's literally millions upon millions of daily
Yeah.
users.
Yeah.
Like a huge chunk, and it was focused on America. A huge chunk of Americans
Yeah.
are using ChatGPT on the daily.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because you use it doesn't mean you've gone through this transformation. I
No.
use it every day, and half of the time it doesn't add more value. And then the other half of the time it actually lets me like be really insightful. Anyways, the idea of that transformation process is supposed to transform your business, help
Mm,
you move to the
exactly.
next level. not just stay at the same level. It's just now digitized,
Right.
right? And that's just, I'd say, the biggest fracturing mindset that I
Yeah.
think cripples a business is people believe because now I have software or technology and I'm doing it, I'm better as a business. Not exactly.
Right. Well, and I love that you said that, right? Transformation, evolution, like those are action, they're verbs. Like it's the process of, it's not a static process. It's evolving and changing, and there's many layers to it. And I think that's also something that people don't realize. It has a lot, you have to unpack a lot of that. And it's not something that can happen in a week or 2 weeks or even a month. It's a huge cultural shift that would probably take anywhere from best case scenario. And obviously, the size of the company does impact this, but from my experience, anywhere from 9 months to a year and a half is probably what you're looking at. It's a huge investment, not just from a financial perspective, but from a human perspective. It's a lot of resources that you have to, but again, the benefit is astronomical, right? If you do this, you really set up your company for success and longevity, scalability. Like those are all the things that we've talked about. And you'll find that it catapults businesses.
Some people worry too much about choosing the right it, like the
Right.
right solution, the right software.
Right.
Listen, you could choose the perfect software on paper for your business and still completely fail. Or you can choose something that, like, the idea is people get caught up in the right it versus the process that actually backs up what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I often teach the principle as well that your decision has to land within a triangle picture, meaning there's only three choices that you could pick from. If there's more that you're trying to solve and understand, like draw a triangle. Hey, priority number one is the top of the triangle, but then go down on this side and this side. These are two subcategories. So if you can imagine that, and that's all you get to fill out, we're pointing to the
Wait,
top, priority number
I'm
one.
writing it down. Tell me this again. I love these visuals that you're giving me today. Okay, so all the solutions are within my triangle or outside of my triangle?
Within the triangle,
Okay.
the reason why we draw things is so we visually can say, all I get to choose is top number one, and then a triangle only has two more points. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one sub, one sub. The
Okay.
idea of if you can't go after a problem with it fitting into that triangle, you haven't narrowed it down enough, right? A
Oh,
triangle points you in a direction, right? Or if you look at it like an arrowhead, right? Because people are like, oh, it's just, there's this like related problem. Like, that's fine. You can have two related problems that you're
yeah.
going along in the same direction, but it's got to point towards it. So draw a triangle, put the biggest priority on top, and if you have multiple triangles, that's fine. It like visually
It's
helps you like,
cheating. Is that cheating though if you have multiple
well,
triangles?
you can draw out multiple triangles, but you still have to
Okay.
pick one triangle image, right? But
Okay.
if it helps you say, all right, these are connected, but man, this one's gonna have like the greatest impact on revenue.
I'm gonna need
So
you to be my life coach. I think you you give so many great. My favorite one to date though, and I have to jump by the way, is focus. The acronym of focus. I love that. Was one of the first things you told me when we first met in the interview for the committee. I was like, this guy is so smart. But the triangle I love is so visual. I love how you think through because the way that you structure these things, it's very tangible, right? Like it
yeah,
feels like you can grasp it because a lot of these things are oftentimes very ambiguous and it
yeah,
feels daunting and like how do I even wrap my brain around it? And so a lot of the
yeah.
advice that you give is super helpful. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, and hopefully all of our listeners, between the conversation of Karina and I today, gives you some action to go take. Go take the triangle. Focus, by the way, stands for follow one course until successful.
I was going to
It
butcher that.
means, yeah, it means the fact that you're going to go all in and truly trying to prove out a channel, a business function, and that you're thinking of the whole thing as a concept and that you're really dialing in and focusing. Yeah, there's a bunch of those. Those are things I've been taught by mentors and leaders over the years. So
I know. Stay tuned, guys, because he has a lot of really great tips. And I just wrote down the chaos to order and ordered automation as well. So I got so much from this podcast today.
there you go.
Thanks,
And
Caden.
you got our two truths and a lie. So
Yes. Yours were way
now,
better than mine. No big deal. I feel like I have to redo mine. No, it's fine.
Well,
People
next
look at me.
episode, we'll let you redo yours.
Okay. All right.
You have a whole week to think about it now, Karina.
Yeah. I have to be more creative. Mine were super lame. And I totally told you, I'm like, make sure you're prepared, Caden. And then you ask me, I'm like, oh, not a clue what I'm going to say. All right,
That's
guys.
awesome. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.